One, we are live. Hey, everybody out there in Facebook land. I have a question for you. What happens when a baby boomer happily residing in a closet deep in the recesses of his mind, filled with 60s memorabilia, wakes up to find he's been married several times and is the father to two daughters of voting age? For one of the most freakishly wild and comical evenings you will ever have, with all the subtlety of a howling monkey, it's Charlie Wiener to the rescue. Hey, what's up? Skylar Russell, John Splan, Blaine Shroom, already joining in. Thank you guys so much. I have on the phone with me right now my special guest, legendary road warrior comedian, Charlie Wiener. So if you guys would do me a favor, Justin Robbins, thank you for joining in. Hit the like button, but most importantly, hit the share button so we can get this out there to as many people as possible, because this is going to be a dynamite, fun, kick-ass Facebook live broadcast right here, right now. Thank you guys so much for joining in. It is Tuesday, or it's Wednesday. It's fucking hump day already. I don't even have a drink. I was going to make a White Russian. I'm just stuck here with coffee. But hey, whoever's got a drink out there in your hand, cheers. Here's to you. Thank you for joining in. It's Wednesday. It is January 3rd, 4:20 p.m. I'm the mighty jer-dog, your good friend, and this is the 420 Report. Holy crap, what a fun episode of the 420 Report we've got today. I've been looking forward to this a long time, because I've actually got on the phone with me right now legendary bar comic, the amazing, the talented Charlie Wiener.
Wow, thank you very much. I forgot pretty. Let's not forget pretty. I mean, that's kind of what I'm known for, my legs.
Known for his legs, known for his wacky hot dog logo that I've seen hanging, displayed on all the comedy club walls that I've been to over the past 20 years. And yet I have not run into this motherfucker in person yet. So I'm very excited. If you've not heard of Charlie Wiener, if you are not yet familiar with Charlie Wiener, he is a professional comedian, musician, singer, songwriter since 1966. Holy shit. That's before I was born, dude.
That's before most people were born. That was when the earth was still cooling off from being made and everything. So it has been a very long time, but I mean, it doesn't feel like it, you know? It really doesn't. I said I got to update my skit because, you know, my daughters are more than voting age. My daughters are now in their 40s. So that's when you realize how unbelievably fucking old you are when your children are in their 40s.
So, yeah.
I don't know how they passed me.
Because I'm 42, so you could be my dad.
That's my oldest daughter is 42.
You could be my dad.
Yes, I could be. What's your mama look like? You never know. Hey, I've been to Iowa. I've been to Illinois. I've been everywhere, man. In my under. What? No, never mind. Oh, yeah.
The wacky Charlie Wiener, man. I've got the reason I've got Charlie on the phone with me right now, he is going to be headlining the Uptown Bar and Cafe this Friday night, January 5th. It's in Crystal, Michigan. So all my Michigan fans, friends, followers, be sure to get out to Crystal. It's just north of Lansing, about 45 minutes to an hour. It's a really cool little bar and cafe. They're going to pack him in with about 100 people. You don't want to miss it. He's also going to be performing at what I consider to be one of the best one-nighters, especially during the middle of the week. It's next Wednesday, January 10th in Clinton, Wisconsin at Boxcars Pub and Grub. Dude, you have yet to do that show, but I'm telling you, I'm not bullshitting at all. I'm not exaggerating. And if there are any comedians that are on right now, you guys can make a comment and back me up on this. But Boxcars Pub and Grub in Clinton, Wisconsin, I would have to say is hands down one of the best midweek one-nighters currently taking place in the country. And then he heads up to Ziggy's Pub in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, also part of the Grassroots Comedy Tour, and that is Friday, January 12th. That is a really fucking nice room too, dude, and you're going to have a great time on all of these
I'm pretty excited about all of these. I mean, I am not... I always cracks me up when I hear, comics go, man, I'm doing a bunch of one-nighters. You just suck. I love one-nighters. I love one-nighters in small towns because those are the most fun rooms you will ever do. No attitude, no bullshit. People walk in and go, here's my money. I'm ready to have a good time, and it's just a ball.
Exactly.
So, I'm pretty excited. I love it. I have a good time with them. So,
one-nighters are my A-rooms.
I really enjoy them. I know everybody else is good. I mean, I like working all rooms. I like working all over the country. But the one thing about small towns, there's no attitude, no bullshit. It's like let's just party. Let's have a good time. You can't ask for more than that.
No political correctness. Nobody's going to be easily offended.
Oh, God, no.
You're not going to have the corporate crowd or the corporate audience there in the crowd because they had to send them free tickets in order to get them to come to the club. You're not going to have the bachelorette party sitting up front that's annoying the piss out of everybody because the entire night's not about them. It's just real, honest-to-goodness, down-to-earth people that just want to be entertained.
Well, the nice thing is that, you go into these places, and it's just about everybody knows each other. So if somebody's being a dick or somebody's being an ass, they just look at them and go, hey, shut the fuck up. We're trying to enjoy ourselves here.
That's
and
right.
they police the rooms themselves because they came in to have a good time. It's like we got to listen to your ass every night in the bar. Maybe one time for the show, you can shut the fuck up and let us just enjoy this a little bit. So
exactly. And sometimes
it's always fun. And they really are always fun.
What's that?
I said they're just always fun. It's just a good group of people. You can't ask for more than that.
Absolutely. And what I found is sometimes even they're like, oh, man, that guy's always an asshole. Thank God you're here, jer-dog. Somebody else has to put up with him for tonight.
Right. Thank you for slamming him. Maybe now he won't be such an asshole in the future. But
now,
ain't no guarantees on any of this crap. So
no guarantees whatsoever. Have you ever, when you're on stage and let's say you're working the crowd a little bit, do you do a lot of crowd work?
No, you know what? I don't, there is nothing that is completely planned about any show I've done. I never do the exact same show twice because it's dependent on the crowd and you deal with what you're given. And so I'm not one of these people that you have to just shut up because I'm going to do this verbatim and this is a play. It's not a play. It's a live comedy show and shit happens.
I agree. You got to be in the moment and keep it real. I think that's what people appreciate the most. We were talking about this earlier before we even started going live here on Facebook. I said, hey, man, do you have any pre-planned bits that you'd like to lead me into? You're like, hell no. I like to keep it organic and I like to keep it fresh. And that's when the best stuff comes out. And I agree 100%. I've got a question, though, from Carlin Haggerty. Carlin Haggerty, you know Carlin?
He's a drunk.
He says, ask the old bastard about the time he heckled his own intro.
Oh, I always heckle. Like, I hate intros. I just hate intros. And he's up there doing this intro about, oh, he's done this, he's done that. He's a fucking legend. And so I just slammed him. Well, he's like, you can't heckle me. I'm doing your intro. I go, fuck that intro. Let's just do the show.
Well,
like, really, I gotta sit there and listen to, somebody bullshit. I know what I've done. They don't need to know what I've done. People don't give a shit.
They don't care what
they want. Are you funny tonight? That's what they want to know.
Exactly. They only care what you're about to do.
Right. I always crack me up. You get these guys that walk up there with a single-space typewritten, 2 sheets of paper about all this shit. And I'm sitting there looking at them going, what the fuck you doing working in this room? Man, if you've done all that shit, you ought to be headlining New York and L.A.
Yeah, no shit. And sometimes I've even been in the position where I've screwed up those long pre-written intros and I didn't say the exact right word or I left out a certain credential. And then later on, they hold that against me saying like, that goes into a bit that I do. And then I wasn't able to do the bit. And I'm like, dude, you're a headliner. You should have the fucking jokes figured out and not rely on the opening MC act to set up your bit later through your introduction.
Right. It's not up to me to do your show. It's up to you to do your show. You don't need me. It's like, really? Whatever. Anyway, so I don't really give a shit. I'm just in there to have fun. If you want to come in and have fun, that's what we do. And I go in there, and it's like, as I say it myself, people ask how I write this stuff. I say, I don't. I live it. Nothing I do on stage. I've never written a joke. I'm not good at writing jokes. I tried to write 2 of them. Both of them fell flat on their ass. I find it better if I just tell you about my life. I said one of my favorite stories of doing a show, and I finished the show, and there's this biker that's standing. I mean, just typical 6'8", 300-pound, bearded, leathered biker, just standing across the hallway, staring at me the whole time while I'm shaking people's hands and stuff. I'm like, oh, what the fuck did I do now? Finally, it's just the two of us. And he comes walking over, and I'm like, well, here we go. So I said, is there something I can help you with? The guy goes, I just spent the last 15 minutes trying to figure out whether I should come over and shake your hand or punch you in the head for looking in my windows. I was like, I'll take the handshake. Like, if you punch me in the head, I'm fucking dead. That's what I think's going to happen there.
Have you ever had a real physical altercation with anybody that you pissed off at a show?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I've actually thrown people off of the stage.
No
it's
shit.
Kind of a wide open kind of thing. I've had problems with, it doesn't happen often.
No.
Most people understand they're at a comedy show.
Right.
But every once in a while you get somebody who's just a jerk off, and they don't understand, and they're just, they're just idiots.
Right.
You can help it.
They think that a lot of times I feel like they think that when you're the way we are as comedians, we talk, we say, hey, you guys, and we frame our act very much around like a dialogue, like a back and forth. But sometimes when we ask the audience a question, it's just hypothetical. And sometimes when we're addressing the crowd, we can do it in such a way that it really does make people feel like we're talking directly to them and they're just part of a conversation like we are right now. Then they start chiming in, not realizing there's 200 more fucking people in the crowd that don't give a rat's ass less about that guy. They didn't pay a $10.
Right. Well, the thing is, people go, well, you're just up there talking. They go, yeah, I know. If we're doing it right, that's what it should seem like. But believe it or not, some of this shit's been actually kind of worked out a little bit. So we kind of have some idea what we're doing, and we don't. The one that always cracks me up, I was just trying to help you. Hey, what the fuck do you think I do the other 300 nights of the year when you're not around?
Yeah, I'll get this.
So
you should take him on the road.
I wear a suit coat on stage. I pulled this tape out. I go, look, here's a copy of my show. There's nowhere on here does it say asshole interrupts. I guess you're not in the show. Stay away.
That's awesome. Hey, you've got 3 musical albums. You've been headlining comedy clubs, colleges throughout the country. But the one question that I have off of your bio is, what is Wiener Vision all about?
Oh, well, all right. First of all, I'm going to be a dick like everybody else. I got like 9 music albums, 3 comedy albums, a comedy DVD. I have a new novel that was just published last year. And Wiener Vision was a television show that I had for a couple of years that was on cable. That it was kind of an interview, and then we would take calls from the audience, and it was just kind of stupid, but it was funny and it was fun. So it was just one of these things that you could do whatever you wanted. It was cable access. There was no restrictions. No, nothing. It was a lot of fun. We just had, sometimes we'd have people walk on, sometimes we'd have planned guests, and sometimes we'd just maybe be me for 2 hours rambling on about whatever was going on in the news or in life that day.
It sounds exactly like the 420 report.
Yeah.
Yeah,
except it lasted like 2 hours. And it was fun. I really was a lot of fun. People would call in. We had a live phone, and people would call in, and we were just, they would, some of them would just call in, and some of them would call in and have fun. It was just, so you never knew what was going to happen. I like flying by the seat of your pants. It's kind of fun to do.
Yeah, I do too, and that's why I like doing these Facebook Lives now, is you don't have to get the TV cameras and all the equipment and the cable access and all that. Just throw up your laptop, turn it on, hit the record button on Facebook. You got an instant audience right there. People already know and like you. They leave comments, and we do back and forth. And speaking of that, whoever's just joining right now, hit me up with some comments and hit us up with some likes and some shares. I've got legendary road warrior comedian Charlie Wiener on the phone with me right now. We're having a really fun conversation, so I appreciate anybody who's joined us so far.
When you say that, people just go, oh, it's some really old guy. And they're right. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Since 1966. That is some old school shit.
That just means that you're really fucking old. and you're too stupid to get out of this, so you just keep doing it.
Dude, you were around before comedy hit that big upswing in the mid-'70s through the late '80s. You were around before that. Were you doing comedy then or just music?
I started doing comedy as a major part of my show in about 1972, going into 73. When it started off really with, we had a musical act. We screw around a little bit, but then the guy that was playing guitar broke a couple strings, and I had to fill like 10 and just started riffing on whatever, and people laughed. I'm like, oh, I like this better. This is much better. So that's when it became like a major part of my show, and it's been since then, so the last 45 years or so.
That's awesome.
It's been kind of the mainstay. I just got rid of the music and just started doing all the shit I was doing in between songs. That's how the comedy started. I mean, really.
You still do the music, though. You insert that into the comedy now. Is that right?
No, really, I don't do any music in the comedy show. I do music. I still play music. I'm doing a new album. I put out a new album last year with the book and everything, and then I'm writing a new album this year, plus I work with other musical projects, but I'm also working on, I want to do a new comedy DVD this year and finish the second book. So, it's busy.
And so...
do a little bit of everything. I like to keep them separate because it's not the same. It's just not the same.
So comedian, musician, singer-songwriter, television host, and also published author.
Yes, we got them all. I am the Renaissance man, embodied in this old, decrepit, wrinkled, white-haired, beat-up, dying, painful, whatever thing shell of a man that I'm left with.
That's what I was going to say, dude. You are fucking dripping with talent, it sounds like. I can't believe we have not crossed paths. I haven't been at it as long as you. I've only been at it for going a little over 20 years now. I started in 1994 when comedy was dying a slow, painful, cancerous death. There were no clubs. I came up in karaoke bars. And, I can't believe we've not crossed paths. I think we work really fucking well together.
Right. Well, it's just, it's funny how many people I have worked with a bunch of times and how many people I've never met. Because it's like you said, you would think just by pure chance, you're working basically the same parts of the country, you're working the same kind of things and everything else, you would just naturally run into each other. But yet there's people that, it's amazing that people that I've known that have been working for 30 years, 35 years, and we just finally meet at some point. So it's just, I don't know if it's just because there's so many comics, or so little work, or so whatever, but sooner or later, everybody runs into each other.
Sooner or later, because I've heard about you through reputation, and like I said, I'd always see the hot dog guy with the sunglasses bathing on a beach with like a pina colada in his hand. And I'm like, who is this Charlie Wiener guy? Because I'd always thought to do that too. Instead of the black and white glossy headshot, I always thought to do like a cartoon or something along those lines. But I was told, oh, no, that's not professional. That's not professional. And then I roll around all these clubs. I see this Charlie Wiener fucker's got a cartoon up there.
But believe me, I'm taking an awful lot of shit because of that. And I was looking at him and I go, let me tell you something. That stupid little cartoon and its many, different forms of it. People look at that and they go, what's that? We should go see it. It looks like fun. Or you could put my picture up there and people go, what the fuck is just another guy? Mm. I mean, I'd rather have a cartoon. Yeah. Believe me, I am not, this face, which you cannot see, thank God, this face is not what draws people into the room. I ain't up there because I'm pretty. I'm up there because I don't really give a shit and I like to have fun.
I might not even remember the name except for that picture just stood out in my mind.
Right.
I saw so many black and white glossy headshots framed on comedy club walls. I don't remember it, unless it's like you'd see like an old school picture of like Seinfeld or someone where it's like, holy shit. But as far as like just traveling road dogs, guys like me and you, that made you stand out in my mind. And that's another thing I heard about you as well is like you were one of the someone told me that you have road dog tattooed on your ass. Is that true?
Well, I have no tattoos. I just I've driven over 2.5 million miles. I've performed in 49 states, several countries. The only one I missed so far is Hawaii, and it's because it's real hard to drive to. But we're working on it. Yeah, I mean, I have, my problem is that though I am literally beat up, literally in pain constantly, literally whatever, I still absolutely love comedy, and I love performing, and I love traveling. I love seeing this country. I have never gotten tired of driving around it. I have never gotten tired of meeting the people in it. I have never gotten tired of doing the shows. So, you know, I believe they refer to me either as a road dog or as a stage whore.
What's the difference, really?
Well, it depends on whether you're being politically correct or honest. And they're both honest, but, you know, whatever.
Right.
Doesn't make any difference to me. As long as you got a place for me to perform, I am happier than a pig in shit going in to do a show. I love it.
Do you ever see yourself retiring?
No. Oh, God, no. No, I have no desire to retire. You retire from a job you don't like. You retire from something you were forced to do for 40 years, and your reward is to take a retirement and die 2 years later. As long as I can find somebody to pay me to walk on a stage, I will be on a stage.
That's how I feel about it, too. I hear a lot of people going, oh, don't you have a retirement account? Or don't you? It's like, you know, I got a little something, but I don't really see the need to ever retire, you know. I take my cue after the greats, like George Burns never fucking retired. Bob Hope did it till he died. The late, great Jim Wiggins was doing it till he fucking died. You know, Wiggins, I worked with him a lot. He's like, you always have fun. They'll have a good time with you. You'll never have a bad show. And that motherfucker was right. And that's always been my motto since. Just get up there and have a good time. You'll never give them a bad show.
Really? It's funny you bring him up. Well, not just Jimmy, because I knew him forever. But people that say, every time somebody brings up the retirement thing, I look at him and I go, here's what I want to be. I want to be George Burns. George Burns did a show on his 100th birthday.
No shit.
To me, that is the epitome of what this business is about. I don't understand people that go, oh, I'm retired. Oh, I'm not going to do it anymore. Oh, I'm so tired of it. You know what? Like, okay, then get off my fucking stage. Let me know where you were booked because I want to pick up the dates.
Yeah, it's like, good. Get more room for the rest
I
of
am
us.
older. I don't think there are more than there can't be more than a dozen comics that are as old as I am or older. And there's all these young guys like, oh man, I've been doing it for this. I go, kiss my ass, you fucking pussy. Get out there and if you want to do this, go out and do it. If you don't, get off my fucking stage.
Yeah.
Because I'll take the gig. I'll take the gig.
Yeah,
I'll be more than happy to. Because I love
around the
it.
show.
Hmm?
I don't like complainers coming around the show. When I'm getting ready to go on stage, I like it to be fun and exciting. I don't like the guys that come around and bitch about the business and bitch about the candles on the table are too fucking bright or whatever it is. Just like get out there, make it fun, do your job, have a good time with it. Give them their money's worth.
Like if you're that uptight about what the candles look like or what the lighting looks like or whatever else, really, this is the wrong thing for you to do. You should go working go work the boats, go work whatever, where you have much more control over what you're doing. I mean, to me, here's my description of comedy. This has always been my description of comedy. Number one, every time you see a live show, whether it's comedy, music, a play, whatever else, anytime you see live entertainment, it is a unique experience that will never happen that way exactly again. You are seeing something that will never happen again. And number two, you want to know what comedy's like? Comedy is you are standing on the ledge of a 100-story building. The wind is swirling around you, and your toes are over the edge of the building.
Yes.
You have two choices. You can either step back or you can move your toes out a little further over the edge. I have never been one to take a step back. And that's what live comedy is supposed to be. There's supposed to be that thrill of, I don't know what's going to happen tonight. I'm terrified to walk on a stage every fucking time, and I've done over 10,000 shows every time because you just don't know. And that's the thrill of it. That's the fun. If you think you got this, if you think you're not excited by this, every time you walk on the stage, And I don't care if there's 5 people in the audience or 500 or 5. I walked in front of 50,000 people. It doesn't make any difference. If you can't get excited by walking on stage, then you know what? There are jobs that have retirement benefits and 401ks and paid days off and hospitalization and all kinds of other shit. Go get that job.
I agree 100%. Charlie Wiener on the phone with me right now, guys. Thank you so much for joining in. Anybody who's just now joining in on the 420 Report, this Facebook Live video broadcast, I've got Charlie on the phone with me right now because he will be headlining the Grassroots Comedy Tour this Friday night, January 5th in Crystal, Michigan at the Uptown Bar and Cafe. He will be heading to Clinton, Wisconsin next Wednesday night for a show, like I said, what I consider to be one of the best one-nighters currently taking place in the country. That's at Boxcars Pub and Club, Clinton, Wisconsin. And then next Friday night, January 12th, in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin at Ziggy's Pub. So there's a lot of different shows. You're going to be doing the Grassroots Comedy Tour, and I really appreciate that, man. You know, it was really
I'm looking forward to it. It sounds like it's going to be a ball.
It will be, dude. These are so fun rooms, and the people there are so cool. It's like we said earlier. It's like they're just real down-to-earth, real people. They all know each other. There's a lot of inside jokes. They are going to love you. I guarantee you that. And the question I had, well, you've been around so long, since 1966. What would you say is one of the biggest differences in the comedy scene now compared to when you started out?
Well, the biggest difference is the fact that you don't have to work. I mean, it's a cultural change. People don't go out like they used to. I mean, when I was first starting out playing, like in the bars and clubs back in the early 70s, mid 70s, 80s, we were out 7 nights a week, and you could work 5, 6 nights a week easily. I mean, even if you're doing a tour of one-nighters, you had 3 one-nighters that led into a weekend room, so you were doing 5 nights a week. And now the shows just aren't there. I would still be working 5, 6 nights a week if I could. I mean, that would I love it. I mean, I think that's the biggest change, is that people have done everything they can to kill this business, and I refuse to let it die. I refuse to stop. I wish people go out. I'm excited that we have a Wednesday next week. I'm excited that we have whatever. So I can't wait. It's going to be a ball. It's going to be fun. I don't know what more people want, but we're going to give them everything we got.
How old were you when you started out?
When I first started performing, I was 13.
13. If you could go back,
that was music, and I first started doing comedy. I was 19.
Okay, so if you could go back in time, let's just go to your 19-year-old version of yourself, just starting out in comedy. And Mason joining in. Thank you very much. Hey, hit us up with some comments and some shares and some likes. We're going to keep this going for just a couple more minutes with Charlie Wiener on the phone, who's headlining the Grassroots Comedy Tour coming up this week and next. I'll put all the show information and the pertinent details in the description of this video and share that out with everybody. But right now, if you guys don't mind, just hit the share button so that way more people can see this, because this has been a really, really fun and funny conversation with legendary road warrior comedian Charlie Wiener, who Carlin Haggerty says is a goddamn national treasure. If you could go back in time, dude, if you could go back in time and visit the 19-year-old version of yourself who's just starting out in comedy, what would you tell him?
I'd say just go for it. I mean, really, I am not a person that lives in the past. I'm not a person that would do anything different than I have done this, because everything that I am, I was at a party a while back. This guy looks at me and goes, Charlie, he goes, aren't you Charlie Wiener? I said, yeah. He goes, because the last time I saw you, you were passed out under a tree on Kelly's Island. Then he goes, oh, I probably shouldn't have said anything in front of everybody. I go, why? Is it true? He goes, yeah. I said, well, then there you go. I'm not going to deny it. I said, I'll be honest with you, I don't remember, but that means you're probably right. I was probably passed out under a tree, whatever. I said, I don't deny anything. My life has been my own. I am a culmination of everything I've done, good, bad, and different. Doesn't make anything. People that say, oh, don't tell anybody. Well, fuck's the difference? Did it happen?
Exactly.
Then it's true.
And that's the
You know,
stuff
I
that
don't
makes
find
the
it
best
true.
material. That's the stuff that makes the best comedies, the
Right.
real life stuff. You said it earlier. I don't have to come up with material. I just have to live life. And I get that question a lot. How do you come up with your jokes? How do you come up with your material? I'm sitting there thinking, how are you guys not coming up with jokes?
Right. Right. Are you paying? If you're paying attention, it's all right there.
It's all right there.
You don't have to do much. You really. It's just. I'm a reporter. I just have a different view of what the news is as far as, you know, life than other people do. I don't take it seriously. I think it's hysterical.
I agree wholeheartedly, dude. And I cannot wait to work with you sometime. You're like I told you earlier, you're one of the few that I have booked on the Grassroots Comedy Tour that I'm promoting across the Midwest. About half a different bars and clubs, and most of the guys, I would say guys, but you know, we got Katrina Brown, we got Sonia White on there, a couple gals as well.
Oh yeah,
and who are hilariously funny. Not that I got to say that, everybody knows they've got a reputation that precedes them. But
they got a reputation, all right.
Especially that Katrina Brown.
Oh, stop! You're killing me. What?
But yeah, man, you're one of the very few headliners on the Grassroots Comedy Tour that I've not yet had the pleasure to work with. And after this conversation, I almost want to go out and just put together a special show, just the jer-dog and Charlie show. You know, the jer-dog and the hot dog.
There you go. There you go. We'll be the all-dog show.
And on
the all-dog.
Put a little
Old
mustard
dog,
on that.
Hot dog, jer-dog. You want the dog? We got the dog.
And
you get cat dog on there too. What the hell?
And Katrina will bring the buns.
That's it.
She's not.
Dude, I love her.
So hey, man, thank you very much. You're gonna have a good time this Friday night at the Uptown Bar, Crystal, Michigan. All my Michigan friends and fans and followers out there who might be watching right now, make sure you get your tickets for that. I'll be back next Monday with another live video blog at 4:20 p.m. or as close as possible. Charlie Wiener, thank you so much for calling in and taking the time to do this today. It was so fun. And have good shows this week and next, man. Tell everybody I said hi.
I will give them everything that I have. That's all I can give you.
What you got a website or any way for people to get in touch with you on social media?
You can I'm on Facebook at Charlie Wiener. I had to go with Charlie Wiener 3. There were 2 Charlie Wieners before me, weird as that may be. And I'm on Facebook. I have a website. You can just go to charliewiener.com. I'm also at Charlie Wiener on Twitter. So I'm all over the thing, man.
There you have it. And I've got you tagged on the description of the video. So guys, make sure to hit him up. Make sure to go to those shows. You will be happy you did. Thank you guys so much for joining today on my live video blog, the 420 Report. I'll be back Monday, 4:20 p.m. And until then, dog bless America.